Hey everyone, it's Timid Falconite and I'm back with more Road to 1.1k. And today's match is going to be this Tier 4 fog match on Inland Waters versus Star Drifter. And yeah, so this is Inland Waters, it's a fog map, it's a light base map as well. Um, and if you go into map analysis, Jess is actually, well, Jess isn't top here. Adder's top, but Jess isn't actually that bad. She got about 49% win rate here, and I honestly feel like overall she might be a little bit better than Adder. In Fog, because it's a Fog map, Jake's kind of crap on this map, just because of all the bridges and roads and stuff, and the fact that he doesn't have much flexibility with his powers, and then I guess Cole is someone who you can maybe use, because there's a good amount of roads here, actually. Like, there are also a couple of, well, I guess, so, okay, hold on. I need to get my thoughts around 1 second. But, basically, the idea with, like, Jake and Cole picking, as for picking maps in which they're good on, is you need to take a look at the cities on the map, and you need to find, basically, more cities that have, like, 2 roads next to them for Cole, like, in this center area here. Or with 2 points next to them, like, with this one a little bit, even though it's a bit further back. It's a bit tougher to reach that with Jake. But like these cities here are more Jake related. So basically, well actually, I say that, but actually there are no comm towers on this map. So disregard all of that, actually. That makes Jake and Cole even worse on this map, that there aren't any comm towers. And the reason for that is, with just one comm tower, both Jake and Cole can, they can wall break onto these cities, with tanks into tanks or infantry into infantry, so long as they're firing from their favorite terrain. And then Jess, the thing about Jess is that she can do that with her vehicles. So with her tanks, basically. And that's basically it with Jess, but... the other thing about this map, that the reason why Adder's super good on this map is because it's a 2 airport map, and the total funds on it is like 34. So that's 17 per day. That's enough to get, well, and the fact that in combination with the fact that it's base fight, basically means you can get out a B-Copter and a tank and infantry, if you're stalemated fairly easily on a day-to-day basis. But the fact that there's 2 airports and only 2 bases means that B-Copters become super important on this map. Hence why Adder, who honestly is the best B-Copter CO in Tier 4, at least for Tier 4 fog. Let's see. So here's the tier lists. So here's Fog and Floor in Tier 4. Honestly, Adder is the best because he gets the extra move on B-Copters, and it's super valuable to have that. And as for everyone else who's legal, I guess Grim maybe has decent B-Copters, but that's not it. That's about it. Sammy is not good on this map. Even though it is sort of a smaller map, it's a bit too spread out for her. And because there are the black boats, she's going to have a hard time doing a victory march onto the HQ. So that's why Sammy's kind of met on this map. So honestly, in hindsight, I think that Adder's probably the best pick for this map, but both me and my opponent picked Jess. I think Jess is probably second best pick on this map. Just because you can do a lot of good stuff with tanks and stuff. Tanks aren't like super invaluable, and like it's base light as well. Jess is usually really good in base light, just because that means there's going to, because there's less bases on the field. That means there's going to be a lot less infantry spam, meaning that Jess is a bit more favored. That's also part of why Sammy's bad on this map, is because she can't have as much infantry out as she might like. But yeah, that's basically it for this map. Well, I guess I could go over just the topical, just the basic things on this map. You have this river going through the center here, which makes it sort of difficult to traverse. Like, you can slowly send infantry over it, I guess. If that makes transport copters sort of a little bit better than you might think on this map, just because they can be used pretty effectively to just get your infantry into position. Just moving them across the river, or even to use corner harbors here. The best thing about these corner harbors is they're out of the way, and that's kind of it. You can, I guess, build a black boat, but it can't really go further than these two shoals, so there's not that much of a point other than leaving it on your harbor to make sure that your opponent can't really get onto it, but like, you're never gonna have enough money to be able to afford that. So that's a really niche use of that. That's probably never gonna come up. And yeah, map analysis. Player 2 has a slight advantage. But yeah, that's basically it for the preamble, so I'm going to just go ahead and start with the actual match now. So yeah, as you can see here, I'm immediately going for the airport with my infantry here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Anyways, yeah, airport's the best option here because you can chain from the airport into these cities back here very easily. You can also chain from this into this and stuff like that. You can also chain into this city as well from the airport. So, like, honestly, getting the airport early is better because then you can send them closer to the front after that. So, just effectively using your infantry and chaining them properly is very important in this map. As you can see, going for there and then into there. This guy's going to stay back to get this city, and then just moving in with the rest of my infantry, obviously. And my opponent is basically doing the same thing. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm going for the airport here instead, looks like. So, delaying that capture on this city a little bit to get the airport earlier. And having both airports isn't like necessary because you're going to be using them both every turn, because you're not going to have nearly enough money for that. But it's very useful in just being able to deploy units at either of them just for positioning, because Battlecopter is going to be super important in this map, and the positioning of them is also going to be super important. And see, moving in like that. The labs, I don't think the labs matter at all in this map. They forget if there's lab units. I don't think there are. I don't see it in the rules. Maybe there are, but I would be a little bit surprised if there were, honestly. So he's got his tank out here already. Then I've got two tanks as well. So early tank games, early tank spam as Jess is like expected. Going for the third tank here as well. Just because you don't have enough money for a recon this early, like getting the tanks is priority number one, and he immediately traps his tank there on my tank. So that's a pretty bad start for him. I'm gonna be able to just move in and take it out like that. And then now I've got 3 tanks in this area. He's got 3 tanks back there as well. So he's not like too far back. But like the income is sort of the same. If I go for the battle copter here, actually, back up my tanks against his without taking any unnecessary damage. Because battlecopters, even just battlecopters, are still pretty good against tanks because they don't take as much of a hit back. And getting the battlecopter here is letting me build an extra infantry as well, so that's buffing my unit count a little bit. That's the other thing about this base light maps like this as well, is you want to get as many battlecopters as you sort of can afford, just so that you get as much extra unit count as you can. And then I also go for the early anti-air. Honestly, this might have been a little unnecessary, but I was expecting a bit more battlecopter spam from my opponent, so that's why I went for what I did. And then, like, battlecopter here, I'm pretty sure this is a regular Jess roll onto the tank. Yeah. So this is basically what I expected. So, like, it's not the best. Jess's battlecopter damage isn't the best, obviously. But it's still doing a good amount of weakening here, and then I can follow up with my tank probably as well into that if I really want to. Or I can just fall back with it. Because that's going to be at an 8 health tank next. But basically I have free reign with my battlecopter here for it. And he takes out my tank here, obviously, and falls back with his own. But now we both have our powers right. We want them, so that's going to come into play right here. Moving with the battlecopter first, just because they're not going to really get much of an advantage from my power if I pop it. And then just doing some more follow-up stuff here as well. And yeah, leaving the anti-air on the road here isn't necessarily my best move, honestly. I should have probably done battlecopter there and then anti-air from down there. Nitpicking. Then I'm also going for this capture pretty early on as well, so I'm expecting a bit of an early capture lead here. Hopefully. Of course, it's going to interrupt me a little bit here, but because it's just infantry, it's not really going to be a perfectly that good of a interrupt here. So, yeah. And he's going to try to break through here a little bit, but he's obviously not going to be able to really. So I'm going to be able to take this property off of him as well. So right there, I just flipped the income back into my favor, basically. And then I'm also moving in and consolidating my troops here for a push into his cities over here. What I'm doing with the infantry here mainly is just making sure that I'm weakening his infantry so that he can't just one-turn cap me. So that I can prevent him from taking these properties here. That's all we're really doing right now, is just making sure that he can't make any gains in this area. So he's falling back with his tanks a little bit. So we're getting ready for a push with his power, probably. Because with Jess's power, even her superpower, they can get pretty far in here. It's a pretty small map, considering. So, as you can see here, I've got my recon out now as well, because I can afford that now. And yeah, as you can see, my infantry are just weakening his infantry as much as possible to make sure that he can't really do much here. And then I'm moving in towards the harbor as well to make sure that that's A-okay. Popping turbocharge here, just to do as much damage to this anti-air as what I can. Basically, actually taking it out, so that's pretty good. Taking out another tank as well. Getting a cap here, and then guarding from the anti-air a little bit with my recon here. Obviously, he'll be able to push in against that. He pops his powers, so it's not like the worst thing, but if he does, he's gonna have to. Basically, I'm making him decide whether he wants to go after my units or my capping infantry here. And because he doesn't have as many units as me in the area prepped to push in, he can have a bit of an issue choosing which target to attack. But here you go. So he pops his super. It takes out my tank, takes out my battlecopter, takes out my other tank, takes out my infantry here, and my infantry there. But like honestly, it doesn't matter too much at this point. Like he's making good unit count gains, but like as you can see, he wasn't able to stop me from taking either of these caps. So I'm going to be ahead a lot of money in a second. Yeah, 20 to 16. So that's 4K income. It's not going to be able to take that, obviously. Shooting on that guy there. Finishing him off. And then... other than that, I'm pretty good. The only thing here that's sort of an issue is I don't have the tanks anymore to deal with his tanks. So I built a medium tank. He's actually got one prepped as well. It's interesting, funnily enough. So that'll end up being fine. Moves in here to take out my infantry, actually. Takes out that one tank and my battlecopter. And right now you're seeing the downsides of battlecopter spamming a little bit, is that you just end up not having enough tanks to deal with the ground forces if your opponent gets the advantage on you. So, but at the end of the day, right? I've got a 6K income lead. I'm going to be able to just outbuild him pretty easily. So. Like, I've got my transport copter here as well, so making some gains over here. He's going to be able to push against my battlecopters here with his anti-air. So this was a little bit aggressive, honestly, but it's going to end up being fine. I can absorb that with my income right now. Moving in to cap this guy as well in the corner and doing damage against the anti-air here as well, so that he can't really do as much with it. That'll be important. Falling back with these two units, mainly trying to keep my recon alive for the vision, and capping here to try and draw fire from his units there. So takes out my anti-air and my infantry. So now I know that he's got the medium tank out here, so that's good intel as well for me. And I basically have my superpower ready, but like my medium tank isn't in range anyways. So I'm going for the cap here. Moving in with my infantry as well to support there, and falling back down here to get a shot off here. Honestly, should have probably gone for this guy, because like he has a million anti-air. I know he has a million anti-air in the area. So yeah, should have definitely gone for the weakened tank instead, just so that it does a lot less damage to my units. And at this point, you can sort of see the battlecopter spam starting to pay off a little bit, because now he's being forced to spend his income on anti-air, and he can't afford to do that forever. Because he only has 14K income. He can build like 2 tanks a turn if he saves all his income, or like an anti-air and an infantry, or something like that. So I'm gonna end up being able to overwhelm him with just battlecopters eventually, just because. And he's able to break through here actually, which was good play on his part. I'm actually gonna be able to take that, which is slightly annoying, but like. I don't need to do everything this turn, so go for the cap, and then I pop my superpower, take out his anti-air there, move in with my recon so that I can see stuff over here, and just move in my medium tank in this area. And now he really doesn't have much that he can use to contest this. Like, he has his battlecopter, I guess, but like, just battlecopters aren't exactly good against medium tanks. Like, They don't even, they aren't even guaranteed to do 2 damage to them, so. This medium tank is going to be a big problem for my opponent here. Then I'm obviously moving into the Battlecopter here as well to weaken the medium tank here, but like at this point, like I don't even need to worry about his medium tank here at all. So I get a second medium tank and an anti-air here. Which is funny because I guess I just predicted that he'd get the Battlecopter here somehow. So he almost takes me out here. Actually, he doesn't actually do it, finish me off. It's kind of funny. But he's gonna be able to do so in a little bit. He traps his medium tank. Like this is the issue with medium tanks, right? They have no vision, so they easily just get trapped. You definitely need to have like a recon or at least a couple light vehicles around your tanks or medium tanks in order to support them so that they can actually see things. That's why I got my recon here for my medium tank and the Battlecopter to back it up. So I join Cap here. I feel like he should be able to kick me off of this, especially if he popped his power next turn. But I am making sure that I'm threatening the Cap here, so that he has to keep his units here to deal with it. Take out his tank here. Take out his infantry as well here. Because, like, honestly, this medium tank doesn't matter at this point anymore, because it's just stranded in no man's land, and it can't really see anything, so it's not going to be very useful. Moving in with my infantry here to sort of keep the medium tank a little bit busy. So he's moving in with his anti-air and stuff. He actually wasn't able to see my infantry there. He should have definitely moved up the infantry. And the fact that he doesn't have any recons yet is starting to bite him in the ass. And it's because he doesn't really have the increment or to be able to afford that. But like now you're just seeing me be able to zone him out. As you can see, like I can see everything on my turn. My opponent can't see anything on his turn. So that's a good sign that I have a significant advantage right now. Moving in with the transport copter like this, so that it's not only is it safe from the anti-air, but I'm also moving this into here to cap this guy. Next turn, I can see his medium tank here, so I move in. Well, I'm starting in with here, like, Jess anti-air are powerful enough with just the extra 10% that they do really, really well against medium tanks. I feel like that might have been a roll, but like, my anti-air is holding its own pretty well against the tank. Of course, this is from a city onto a road, so keep that in mind. Like this isn't a very fair fight. But and then I got a second medium tank. Like I'm starting to roll with the medium tanks up as well. And then I'm starting to chip away at his black boat here a little bit. Like this is a good first strike as well. Like just first strike into Battlecopter is still basically neuters them. So that's why Battlecopters are generally better than anti-air on this map, even for Jess. Just because they can deal with your opponent's Battlecopters so easily. I think I only built this one, maybe 2 anti-air total in this match, but I didn't need to. You don't really need to spam them unless your opponent. Well, my opponent sort of needed to spam them a little bit because I had so many Battlecopters, but yeah, and like just going back to his turn, you can't see anything at all. That's the difference between having like a couple of recons and like no recons. And like 2 recons is the same as a tank and infantry, so price-wise. So it's usually better to get the vision than an extra tank and infantry. He takes out my tank here. And my Battlecopter. Well, actually, no, he doesn't even take out my Battlecopter here. That's interesting. Oh, he's only at 3 health. That would be why. But, like, He still does 6 damage with the 3 health Battlecopter. That's just damage. Kicking in right there. Yeah. So he finally takes out my infantry here. But like at this point, this property doesn't even matter anymore, because at this point I'm just taking so much of his other stuff. It doesn't matter. It takes out my tank there as well, but I've got my medium tanks moving in a second, so like I can just move in, take out his anti with the weakened medium tank even. Box in his medium tank a little bit here with the recon even. Moving in with my medium tanks here. Like he has nothing that he can do against these guys in this area. Double recon, Battlecopter, tank. I even go for a second transport copter. And he just resigns here. Because like he sees the medium tank spam starting to roll in. He's got nothing to deal with that at this point. Like he's been underwater in income for like, what is it, 10 turns at this point? Yeah, at least more than 10 turns. So like, honestly, if I were him, I might not have even made it this long. Because, like, I don't know. But, yeah. That's basically inland waters for you. It centers a lot around the Battlecopters, so honestly, Adder's probably a better pick than Jess overall, but Jess's firepower is really nice as well. Like, Turbocharge is nice, but Overdrive is really, really good, firepower-wise. And this is also a map that isn't really heavily focused around infantry into infantry engagements, because there's just not enough infantry for you to waste from attacking other infantry. So Jess's infantry firepower matters a little bit less. I feel like overall Adder probably wins against Jess on this map. But I feel like Jess isn't even that bad against Adder on this map, so she can definitely turn the tables on him, depending on how it's played. But yeah, the Battlecopters, I feel like the Battlecopters might make it so that Adder just takes the win pretty easily. But yeah, that's Inland Waters, Jess versus Jess, mirror match. Yeah. So that's the match for today. My opponent's main mistake was not respecting the Battlecopters on this map, I feel. And just letting me build up some Battlecopters and get good unit count from that. Like, he should have either built Battlecopters himself or gone for like at least one anti-air early on. So you are definitely going to see Battlecopters in this map, even if you're playing against Jess. So I feel like if he had built like he had the income, the extra money. Yeah, he had the extra money for sure. Like, in order to get like even a Battlecopter if he wanted, but he could definitely get an anti-air. And the being able to build Battlecopters on this map is like so huge. Like if you don't build Battlecopters in this map, you're gonna just fall behind on unit count. And that's sort of how it always is in not mixed base, in base light matches like this. Is if you don't use your airports properly, you're gonna fall behind in unit count fairly quickly, because you're not going to be able to. You just aren't able to pump as many units as you'll need to out of your bases. But yeah, that's it for today's match. So, there's an outro base 7 chosen. Nah, I don't think that's gonna be what I'm gonna be looking at. next week's match is going to be another Grim match. It's going to be Jake versus Grim. And I will say I did not know how to play against Grim properly in Standard. And I will go over that in drastic detail as to what I did wrong, and yeah, basically stuff to deal with that. So stay tuned for that. That should be fun next week at the usual Sunday time, 1300 Eastern, and I will see you guys then. Oh wait, I guess like, subscribe, and all that nonsense as well. So I will see you guys next time.